Alright, greetings my dudes, and I guess welcome to an update video on my game. So, the first thing I'll go over is all the stuff in the menu. I know I haven't really made any videos on this since, I think, version 15. But point is, the last version of the game, version 17, I made a major overhaul to the rendering system to vastly improve the efficiency. And that allowed me to do some more complex things with lighting. So in this version, I overhauled the lighting system to improve visual quality utilizing normal and shadows. Basically, I'll get into that whenever I actually load up the world, so I can go into more detail. So during sunset, the skylight value will fall off in a logarithmic pattern, so the sky will no longer, or the lighting will no longer fall off linearly. It'll fall off in kind of a reverse logarithm. So it'll be shallow at first, and then it'll get really steep, and that's only after the sun crosses below the horizon. And the color of the sunlight will change during sunrise and sunset. Before, it was just a flat white light. Now it will change as the sun dips below the horizon. Or rather, I think it occurs before that. There are now shadows within the game. These will render within 256 blocks of the player. This may be an editable value at some point in the settings, if I get around to doing that, or if I feel the need to. Because of that, there is now a video setting for shadows and for view bobbing under the video settings. And because of that, I moved the settings for sound and music volume to the options menu. Additionally, I also resized the sun and moon to the correct sizes visible from the Earth. They were actually larger than what they were supposed to be, which kind of did look better, but I realized they would cause problems later down the line if I didn't correct that scaling issue. So real quick, here's the new settings menu. Sound and music are right here. This still does nothing. But under video settings, there's now view bobbing and shadows. Additionally, I forgot to document it in the patch notes, so good job me. But full screen mode is now fixed. It should actually work. So we'll go ahead and hit this, and I don't know how this is going to look on the recording. Cool. All right, yeah, so full screen mode will now actually properly work. It should save and it should load as it would. Additionally, whenever you're in non-full screen mode, so if you're in windowed mode, and you decide to resize the window is now resizable again, and the buttons should be able to be clicked correctly. Along with that, text should scale to the correct positions. Those changes were made to kind of fix those issues. So I'm going to go ahead and load up one of the worlds here. I'm going to use some time cheats to show the various lighting effects. All right, so we'll place the sun here at midday. You can see the sun is much smaller. And the main lighting overhaul was normals, so all of the block faces now use normals, along with the entities. So if I go and spawn in a deer, you'll see the top face of the deer is much more lit than the other faces of it. And punch it and make it run away. I realize it no longer is red whenever I hit it, but it's something to fix later. So because of that, as the sun rotates around, so I'll place it kind of at sunset. I can faintly hear it in the distance. You'll see that this side of the block that is facing towards the sun is now more lit than anything else. Additionally, the shadows that are being rendered, say, from the trees or from the landscape are then getting stretched out that way. Oops, that was too much. All right, so this is the shadow mapping. So this simply is just a very simple shadow algorithm. Basically, it allows me to have these more realistic shadows. This is a bit performance intensive, which is why I made the option to turn it off. And additionally, because of that, there is no longer the Minecraft-like shadows where trees will just cast like a vertical shadow down. So they no longer block skylight. I did attempt to get rid of the skylighting algorithm because it's not the most efficient, but I still am going to need it for caves. So it does still exist. I couldn't exactly get rid of it. So I'm going to go ahead and move the sun to the sunset position and then turn back on shadows. And then I'll kind of show how the whole sunset proceeds. So as the sun starts to dip below the horizon, what used to occur before was that the sky would transition from this blue color down to a black color. And the sunset image would render and it would change color, and that's all that would really happen. Also, you can see that the moon is much smaller now. The moon and sun are roughly the same size. And if you look at the space map here, you can see that that is about close to what they are on that map. So it is more scale accurate. And then you can see with this this bush right here, that the faces that are facing towards it are more lit than the ones facing away. But now what occurs with sunset is that as the sun starts setting and it starts hitting into that yellow phase, you're going to see the sky color will transition from this blue to this like light yellow, and you can see it's occurring right now. It's more like a yellowish white. I didn't make it a full yellow just because it wouldn't... It looked better like this than it did if I did full yellow. Then you can see the glare of the sun starting to set. And then if you look around at the blocks, you'll notice they're getting a lot more yellow on their on the lighting. And then I placed this torch down to show what will happen as the sunlight starts to fall off. The sunlight itself, the sunlight value itself doesn't change until the sun crosses below the horizon. That's when it starts to go down. Until then, it's still fully lit. It's just that the color is now changing from this white to this yellowish color. And along with that, the fog color will also change automatically. And then you can see the moon is much more clearly visible, very orange. So now it's transitioning out from the yellow phase to the orange phase. From here, it moves into red-orange, I believe. I think I may have changed some of the colors around. But it moves from yellow to orange to like a reddish orange. And then you could see this was what's starting to occur. Basically, whenever the renderer runs, it will encode all of these values, and it will display whichever is highest. So right now, around here, the torch value is higher than everything else. That was a bit of a weird shadow there. But you can see the torch is slowly growing brighter and brighter as the sky is getting darker and darker. Since that's now the highest color. Or I guess highest light value. And then now we're moving into the red-orange phase. It's getting a lot darker now. The colors are changing. And this will go on until it reaches past this point. The sun will still... Or sorry, the sun flare for the sunset will still transition into a purplish stage. But the light itself stays this kind of red color as it fades off. And returns kind of to a white light. But at this point, it's so dark that it doesn't actually matter. And then once this is below a certain point, the stars will come out. And along with that, you will see shadows will eventually stop rendering. Just because when the sun's below the horizon completely, there's not really any point in telling it to render the shadows. So I kind of take that off to save on performance. You can see the stars are out, but it's still like this like pink glow. One of my goals is actually to get it so it only affects like half of the sky at a time instead of the entire sky. But because of how I'm doing the sky color, it's not really possible. So I'll think of some way around that. But you can see it's turned purple. Now it's fading out. The actual sky box is turning black, as it's supposed to be. The colors are fading away. And then this will repeat on the opposite side. And then I think this is now finally at the point... It's close to it, but this side will stop calculating normals, and then it'll just be pitch black. And then the moon is risen. So yeah, we'll fast forward ahead. But this is what it looks like at night. Still looks like night. Because of this, though, one of the main changes is that there is no longer any need for, as the sun transitions, to rebuild the chunk meshes. So there should be considerably less threads running whenever sunrise, sunset happens, so this will lead to much better performance on that. Just because I don't need to rebuild the mesh every frame, because I've already got the lighting data, because, again, I'm only encoding the block lighting into the color values. Oops. I might need to make that a little softer. But because of that, I no longer need to do that, so it's a little bit faster on that front. But yeah, that is the overall... The overall changes the lighting. It also affects entities, so I'll respawn this deer. You can see it's very red. Punch him, make him run away. Yeah. And it'll also affect items on the ground. There are some models that aren't exactly working as they should, namely the torch models. Their normals aren't correct. I think some of the side models are what's messed up. Yeah, like that one shouldn't be as bright as it is. But I do intend to redo the torch models to rotate this face. So instead of having this face be flat, I'm going to rotate the torch. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. But yeah, that is all the changes graphically with this version of the game. In the next one, I don't know what I'll be doing on that one. Probably some more water effects. Anyways, take care, my dudes, and have a nice day.